is your truly physics team, and this is my very first video over there YouTube, and I want you guys to please like, subscribe and comment down in the comment section below. Okay, so this video is truly about a very interesting particle named as tachyon. And guys, these are some basic things you will need to know first before starting this video. First is this photon. What does this mean? It is the elementary or the fundamental particle of light. Light is made up of these photon particles. This is a particle which also shows the wave motion, or it has a wave function. Okay, so its speed is very high, and this is also the speed limit of our universe. This is 3 into 10 raised to power 8, or 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. So this is very huge speed. And Einstein's basic equations when a body approaches the speed of light. These are some basic equations of Einstein's theory of relativity that states that when a body approaches the speed of light, here are some basic equations for that feeling. First is time dilation equation. This equation is stated as T is equal to T prime under root 1 minus V squared over C squared. C squared is basically the speed of light, and V squared is the speed of the body or the object that is traveling. Okay, and this object must be in motion. Okay, so this equation, what do we understand from this equation is that the time for a body which is traveling nearly about the speed of light, or which is actually in motion, the time for that body will become slow, and the time for the observer who is observing that object, the time will kind of move with the same pace as it was before, if the object is in rest. And if it is in motion, then it would be about the relative time period of that object with this object. Okay, and the second equation is of mass increase. This equation is stated as m, or the mass of the body that is traveling with the speed of, or with its own speed, and or near the speed of the light. Okay, so mass for that object will be equal to mass of that object when it is stationary or at rest, divided by 1 under root 1 minus V squared over C squared. What does this mean? This freaking good equation means that the body which is traveling which is in motion will have an increase, will show an increase in the mass. Okay, its mass will not be the same as it was when it was at the rest. Okay, it will show an increase or the increment in its mass. And the third thing we have is iota. What does this I means? This I, if you have ever gone to high school, so in that high school you will have to learn about this iota thing. This iota are called as imaginary number. These numbers are in the form of a plus b times I, where I is equal to under root 1 minus 1 negative 1. So it's kind of very interesting thing that how can we solve the under root for a thing called minus 1. We cannot solve it, so it is an imaginary number, its value is imaginary, and we'll tend to learn about this thing more deeply in our next videos. Okay, so guys, you might be wondering that I'm speaking of blah 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 Einstein's equations and all that. But what does this video actually stand for is that we are gonna discuss about this fundamental particle called as tachyons. Actually, it's not a fundamental particle, but this is a theoretical particle. Its existence is not known till now, but we can do that. We can, and the scientists are till now discovering the existence of these fundamental particles. Okay, so what's the definition for these particles? These particles can be defined as, these are those particles that tend to move faster than the speed of light. Their speed is actually greater than the particles of light or photon. So their speed, let's say their speed is v, it will be greater than c, or it will be greater than 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. Guys, this is freaking good speed. And so guys, this, due to this reason, they exist in only theories, cause due to Einstein's law that anything in this universe cannot reach the speed of light, so these particles could not either reach the speed of light. They if they exist, then they would be in an imaginary world, because guys, it breaks all the laws of Einstein. Actually, it does not break any law of Einstein. If we take the equation of Einstein's mass dilation, actually time dilation, we will have this equation: T is equal to T prime under root 1 minus v squared over c squared. So their velocity, as their velocity is greater than 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second, let, for example, say, let their velocity v is equal to 2 times c. So we are left with this thing. Actually, I'm kind of doing some trick here. Let's say v is equal to 4 times c. Okay, it's 4 times c. So t prime under root 1 minus 4c, it's 4c squared over c squared. Okay, so t is equal to t prime under root 1 minus 4. Okay, it's 4, because this and this thing, this pretty thing, got cancelled. 4 into 4, as this have a square over this. Okay, so t is equal to t prime under root 1 minus 16. What the heck does that mean? It's actually minus 15 or negative 15. OMG, we have got a kind of number who we have to under root the negative one. Okay, so let's take this as t is equal to t prime under root 15 into negative 1. So t is equal to t prime under root 15 into negative 1. So the number here, the number we got here, is the imaginary number, as we can write this as this. Okay, so t is equal to the value of I mean to say that under root 15, it would be a rational no, it would be an irrational number. Of course, it is an irrational number, but it can be written as t prime under root 15 times root 1. So guys, an observation can be made here. This is negative 1, root of negative 1. So this is I. It will be equal to t 5 times I. Okay, So what we can see here is that the time of their existence would be imaginary. So we got one property of these particle is that, which is that the time of these particle is imaginary. So for the other equations of Einstein, it will also say that the mass of these particles is also imaginary and the length of these particles is also imaginary. So these particles exist in an imaginary world. We can only think about their existence in our imagination world, but we cannot detect it any significance of these particles in our real life because they are imaginary and they end up in an imaginary number. Okay, so that's all for today. Hope you guys like this video, and please share, like, as well as subscribe my channel, and comment down in the comment section below what you guys want next. Okay, stay tuned. Bye.